Hello everyone, this is Mikey Garcia.
Yo, it's your boy, the odd guy himself, Malik King Scott.
Hi, I'm Charlie Edwards.
This is Fast Eddie Chambers, and you're listening to the BoxHard Podcast with my main man, Joey Coastman.
Hello everybody and welcome to the first ever episode of the BoxHard Podcast. I'm your host, Joey Coastman. On this show today, as always, I'm joined by Ayaz Sumra. Ayaz, how you doing?
I'm good, Joey. Joey, how are you?
Very good, very good. Okay, this show is called The Review and Preview, where we review last weekend's fights and we preview the forthcoming weekend of fights. So we get straight into this. Okay, on Saturday, we have Paulie Malignaggi in a return fight. His last outing, he lost. He got stopped in the 9th round by Danny Garcia. He's now back. He fights a guy called, his name slipped me, Ayaz. Do you know his name?
Laszlo Vasikas.
Say that once more.
Laszlo Vasikas.
Okay. What do you know about this fight?
Well, I know the guy's from Italy, right? And obviously, Paulie Malignaggi's his family's from Italy, and he's always had a dream of fighting in Italy. So I reckon this is a good fight for him. He's lost to Danny in his last fight, right? He's meant to before this Danny Garcia fight was made. He's meant to fight Danny O'Connor, but because he had while he was training, while he was sparring, he had a slit. He split his eye on top, and because of that, he had to fight Danny Garcia in August, and Danny Garcia unfortunately stopped him in the 9th round.
Yeah, Laszlo Vasikas, I've got his record now, 27 wins, 21 losses and the 1 draw. Obviously this is a fight that Paulie's supposed to win and win well if he's really going to be back in title contentions in the 147 division. I'd personally like to see him back. I know that myself and yourself, Ayaz, have met Paulie on a number of occasions, and he's a very great guy, very, very knowledgeable about the sport. You know, there's nothing in boxing, there's not anything he doesn't know. He knows everything, very, very, very knowledgeable. You know, the guy's a cracking commentator. Whenever you hear him, he's, you could listen to him all day. He's that type of guy. Again, very good boxer. You know, he's almost been around forever. You know, remember the times when he fought our man Ricky Hatton. Remember the times when he fought our man Amir Khan. That's almost a forgotten fight. Amir Khan's fight against Paulie. I'm not sure what year that was in, but quite a while back now. But he's still going. And again, in my opinion, he's still one of the best fighters in his division, you know. But I'd love to see him back because I think he's a great fighter with a lot of punch out, but not very much power. Obviously, he's only got the 7 knockouts to his name, Paulie. He's got as many knockouts as he has defeats, which sounds really bad, but his record overall 33 wins and 7 losses. But yeah, hopefully he gets his 8th knockout against Laszlo Vasikas. And hopefully we see him step it back up because, like I say, he's got a lot of punch output, not so much power, and he's a very hard man to outpoint, to outbox. And again, I think he's got quite a good chin. I know that he was stopped by Porter quite early. I know he was stopped by Danny Garcia in the 9th round, but he's a very good boxer, and it'd be sad when he does decide to hang up the gloves. I mean, he's saying that this could be his last fight. We'll see. I guess it all depends on how well he wins. Anything else to add on that, Ayaz?
Well, I mean, in the past he's fought the likes of Miguel Cotto as well.
Yeah, again, a forgotten fight.
And he lost on unanimous decision, which is on 12th round.
Yeah.
And Miguel Cotto's a very big name.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Of course. Okay, should we move on to the monster card at Wembley?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so topping the bill in Wembley, Fedor Chudinov, not to be mistaken for his brother Dmitry Chudinov, who lost to Chris Eubank earlier on in the year. Fedor Chudinov, who won the WBA World Super Middleweight title from Felix Sturm on a split decision, steps in against Frank Buglioni. Frank Buglioni, this is this is easily his hardest fight that he's been in. Obviously, Frank Buglioni with the record of 17 wins, 1 loss and 1 draw, and his 1 loss was a stoppage. Who was his stoppage lost to? Completely forgot. The guy's name slipped me up. I'll have to say it in a minute.
Sergei Kamitsky.
Sergei Kamitsky, yeah, the guy who stopped Adam Etches as well, I remember. He's somewhat of a prospect killer, if you like. But, yeah, Fedor Chudinov, again, vastly unexperienced. Obviously, a lot of experience at the top level, but not many fights. I mean, Frank Buglioni, 19 fights. Fedor Chudinov, 13 fights. But it's a big ask for Frank Buglioni, and there's a little twist to this one. Frank Buglioni trained by Steve Collins, and Fedor Chudinov for this fight only, I understand, just for this fight, he's got Roy Jones Jr. working his corner. So there's a lot of heat between Roy Jones Jr. and Steve Collins. So it could be quite spicy in there. So there's a lot of interest on that fight, not just for the fighters but also the trainers. What do you think of that fight, Ayaz?
I reckon that's a very good fight. Obviously, Chudinov, like he beat Felix Stone, which is, I reckon, he's another very tough opponent. He's took on the likes of Matthew Macklin. He's took on Martin Murray. So I reckon Chudinov beats Frank Buglioni is going to be a very good fight. And obviously, all the boxing fans will be watching this main event on Saturday for the WBA and super middleweight title. Yeah,
I mean, not a lot of people know very much about Chudinov, but if you look at his record, I mean, he's fought some good guys. Especially, he's been somewhat of like a lot of people have fought him with a winning record, and he's put their first loss on their record. He actually stopped Andy Perez. Andy Perez came into this fight with a 19-0 record. He took his O, and then the next fight, and he took his O in the 3rd round. The next fight, he fights Ben McCulloch, 14-0. He takes his O away from him in the 2nd round by knockout. Frank Buglioni, obviously, he's got the 1 loss, but it'll be a big fight, and it's a huge, huge ask for Frank Buglioni. Make no mistake about that. I really hope he can do it because, again, Frank Buglioni, very, very nice guy, makes a lot of time for his fans. He's got a lot of fans. But Chudinov, he's looking very, very good lately. I've seen a bit of his training footage, and he looks in great shape. But I really, really hope that Frank can do it. Anything else to add on that one, Ayaz?
There's not much really to add on that. Just want to see the fight happen on Saturday.
Yeah, of course, we all do. Again, Ahmet Patterson is out again on the undercard, racking up his wins now, 15-0 Ahmet Patterson, but he fights Danny Butler. Danny Butler with a record of 25-5. Ahmet Patterson, I mean, I think this is just a fight to showcase one of Frank Warren's prospects, but pretty promising prospect, Ahmet Patterson. The guy's ranked 69th in the world, but he hasn't really fought anyone of note yet. Guy's from Dulwich, but he's stepping in there with a guy who, again, he's got 30 fights. He's got 30 fights and he's under his belt. Like I said, 25 wins, 5 losses. So he's got double the fights of Ahmet Patterson. But again, this is just another fight to showcase what he's all about. He's a promising prospect, like I say. Not much punch power, but very, very skillful. He's 27 years old now. He's in the welterweight division. And I think he has the potential to do big things. He's ranked 6th in Great Britain. But, still a lot to see from Ahmet Patterson, in my opinion. Anything to add on that one, Ayaz?
I reckon for him, this is going to be a step up.
Yeah, it is, without doubt.
A big step up. Obviously, it's for a title as well, so we'll see how Ahmet Patterson gets over Danny Butler. So I reckon it's obviously Danny Butler's an orthodox.
Yeah.
And obviously it's orthodox against orthodox. So we'll see how the two fighters get along when it comes Saturday night.
Yeah, of course. Okay, and moving on to the next fight down the bill. Bradley Skeet fighting and defending his WBO European welterweight title against Mark Thompson. Bradley Skeet, again, just battling through all these fights. He's 20-1, 9 knockouts, Bradley Skeet. The one loss to Frankie Gavin, and I remember I was at that fight, and in my opinion, I thought that Bradley Skeet just nicked it, but he lost unanimously on the night to Frankie Gavin. And Bradley Skeet again, European level. He stepped it up slowly, a little bit too slowly, in my opinion. But he fights, again, Mark Thompson here. Again, this is probably a fight that I think Bradley Skeet should win and probably will win quite well. Again, Mark Thompson, 34 years of age now. He's seen his better days. And, I think Skeet... I think it's a bit of a test because again, it's good for Skeet to fight these guys who have a lot more experience than him. It's good when he steps in there against someone who's got a winning record, someone who's a credible opponent. But again, I think Bradley Skeet beats this guy and beats him well. To be honest with you, this is someone, Mark Thompson, whose last fight he beat William Warburton over 4 rounds on points. So he hasn't actually been over 4 rounds for his last 5 fights. Again, he lost 2 of his previous 5 fights, 1 by knockout and 1 on a 3rd round prize fighter. He was actually in the prize fighter. He got to the semi-final and lost to Rob Hunt. That's back in 2013, but only 1 fight this year. And like I say, he beat William Warburton, who actually upset another Frank Warren prospect in, oh my God, his name has slipped me once again. Blonde hair. Oh God, gorgeous Georgie Keane. He upset gorgeous Georgie Keane over a points decision. I think it was last year now. But yeah, again, we stay on topic. Bradley Skeet once again in quite a tough fight with Mark Thompson. Anything to add, Ayaz?
I reckon it'll be an easy fight for Bradley Skeet. Obviously, this guy Mark Thompson's had 4 losses.
Yeah.
And Bradley Skeet is a more experienced fighter as well. I reckon he's fought like a Frankie Gavin, but I reckon Skeet should stop him. I reckon Skeet would stop him in the early rounds.
Yeah, again, Skeet, he seems to have really. He seems like he's got his man strength now. He seems to have settled in. I mean, he's a strong fighter at 147, but a lot of people said he lacked power. But then all of a sudden, he seems to be knocking people out now. So again, he's become a very exciting fighter in his previous few fights, and I'm excited to see him step in there again this Saturday. We'll move it again. This is such a big bill. There's so many people on the bill. We have Jamie Kavanagh, one of your favourite fighters, Ayaz. His record 18-1. Jamie Kavanagh, he steps in there against Michael Mooney. Michael Mooney with a losing record, unfortunately. 8 wins, 16 losses. Do you want to talk about this fight?
Jamie Kavanagh. Well, I've met him before.
Yeah.
I met Jamie Kavanagh actually at the Royal Britannia Public Workout. And to be honest, right, he's actually a great guy. He's before he used to train with Freddie Roach in the Wildcard Gym, and he told me he's had the experience days with the likes of Manny Pacquiao, but afterwards Freddie Roach couldn't have much time with him, so he decided to move to Joe. Joe Diaz's. He's decided to move to train with Joe Diaz, who recently had a split with Timothy Bradley. So I reckon we'll see a new Jamie Kavanagh.
Yeah, he's certainly in there against someone who he can showcase his skills against. Again, I don't know much about Michael Mooney, but he's lost twice as many fights as he's won. It's only a 6-rounder again, so I think Jamie is just going to, probably win easy, probably win. Pretty easy. Again, this is actually Jamie Kavanagh's 2nd fight in the UK. He hasn't fought in the UK since 2011, where he won a points decision against Sid Razak. But Jamie Kavanagh, again, this is like his first fight back Obviously, he's on a Frank Warren card. But, I think he wins. He probably wins by knockout. But, again, a prospect that we need to see more from. We need to see if he can get himself where he wants to be. World title contentions. Again, a great guy for the sport. Is there anything else you want to add there?
I know that for a fact that Jamie Cavanagh, when I met him at the public workout, he was actually telling me that he's actually signed to Golden Boy Promotion. So I would like to see. Obviously, he's fought in America. His fighting career has mostly been in America, but I want to see him. I want to see him fight in England, see how he is.
Yeah. Okay. And also, I'm just going to read out a few other names on the bill. Of course, we have Chudinov, Buglioni, Amit Patterson, Danny Butler, Ryan Walsh. He gets out again against Samir Muniemni. I don't know if I've got the pronunciation of that right. Lewis Petit comes back. He's, against Bobby Jenkinson. Bradley Skeet, we mentioned, fights Mark Thompson. Romeo Ramal fights Chris Adaway. Romeo Ramal, this will be his 9th contest. 8 fights, 8 wins. Again, I really like his flashy style. He does a lot of stuff that that Prince Nassim was good at doing. But Romeo Ramal, exciting prospect for the future. Jamie Kavanagh fights Michael Mooney. Ediz Hussein fights Lewis Jones. Jamie Cox, 19-0. He's on the bill, but they haven't announced his opponent yet. But again, that's for the WBO European Super Middleweight title. Gary Corcoran, he's on the bill. Boy Jones is on the bill. Billy Long is on the bill. And also, Del Boy Derek Chisora will be on the bill. Del Boy, again, his opponent hasn't been announced, so we can't really talk about that fight. But it's going to be interesting to see what he has left, because in his last fight against Tyson Fury, he just didn't seem himself. Tyson Fury fought the fight southpaw, and he just seemed to absolutely, he beat Chisora every minute of every round, and Chisora really looked a broken man in there, to be honest with you. And it'll be interesting to see what he looks like. Oh, sorry. Again, made a little mistake there. Obviously, Chisora did come out. He's had one fight since that Tyson Fury loss. I actually forgot about that. The reason why is because I think the fight lasted about 20 seconds. He stopped the guy in the first round, and we didn't really get to see what Chisora has. It was literally one punch. As soon as the first punch landed, that was the end of the fight. So hopefully he fights someone who's a bit durable, who can go more than one round, because it will be interesting to see what Chisora has left, because again, he's sort of like a gatekeeper, like a European gatekeeper. He seems to go to the top level, go to world level and lose at world level. He's gone up there, he's fought Vitaly, he's lost to Vitaly Klitschko, he's fought David Haye, got stopped by David Haye, he's lost twice to Tyson Fury, and obviously he's got the one loss, which in my opinion he won against Robert Helenius. Helenius coming back into boxing after a little break himself. But Chisora hopefully steps in there against someone who can take him some rounds, and we can see what he's got left. I wish him all the best, because again, Chisora is a great guy, despite some of his outlandish actions outside of the ring. Anything to add on that one, Ayaz?
No, I just want to see Chisora back in the ring. Obviously, he's fought the top heavy. He's fought the top heavyweight guys, like you said, the likes of Haye, Vitaly Klitschko. He's lost to Fury twice. He even beat Kevin Johnson as well, who Anthony Johnson recently stopped. But one fight I would like to see him fight would be Chisora versus Hughie Fury.
Yeah, that'd be a great fight. I'd love to see that. Yeah, that'd be a great step up for Hughie. That's a good fight. That is a good fight. I'd like to see that. Okay, moving on from the Wembley show. Again, there's so many fights on the bill. You've got to watch that one on TV if you're not there. Deontay Wilder steps in to defend his WBC heavyweight title against Johan Duhaupas. Deontay Wilder, with his 34 wins, 34-0, steps in against Johan Duhaupas 32-2. A lot of people don't like this fight, Ayaz. A lot of people not giving Wilder any credit for taking this opponent, the Frenchman. He's number one in France. He's ranked by BoxRec 34th in the world. Obviously, the reach advantage goes to Deontay Wilder on this one. 6'7" against Duhaupas at 6'5". But yeah, I mean, look, Duhaupas, he got in there. He's had 2 fights this year. He lost to Erkan Tepa, who knocked out David Price recently. But his last fight, he beat Manuel Char on a majority decision in Russia. So, I mean, he's beat Manuel Char, so he's got himself a shot. Again, a lot of people think it's a bit undeserving. Not many good wins on his record, to be honest with you. But does he have a chance in this fight, in your opinion?
No, I don't reckon. I don't know. This is a tough one. We've seen Deontay Wilder have some, like, he's fought Eric Molina in his last fight, stopped him in the 9th round. Then Bermain Stavern took him 12th round. But to be honest, I can actually see Deontay Wilder stopping him. It could be roughly in the margin between 6 to 10 rounds, stopping him.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at his record. He's fought Paul Butlin. I don't know if you remember, Paul Butlin obviously fought Anthony Joshua. He got stopped by Joshua. I think it was like second round. Yes, it was the second round. Obviously, he also fought Lucas Brown, got stopped by Lucas Brown. He's fought a lot of names. He's fought a lot of names. Paul Butlin, but yeah, like I say, he couldn't get Paul Butlin out of there. Joanne Duhaupas, he took Paul Butlin 8 rounds and won unanimously. His other loss, he's got 2 losses on his record. He's lost his first loss, obviously. Well, I mentioned it, Erkan Tepa. That was in March of this year, and also he lost in 2008 to Francesco Pianetta. If you remember, Pianetta stepped up against Vladimir Klitschko. Pianetta was the guy who was diagnosed with leukemia. He managed to beat it, and he's still here with us today, which is very good. But again, he stepped up against Vladimir Klitschko and got stopped in the 6th round. He was an ex-sparring partner for Vladimir Klitschko. But I mean, not sure how much of a great fight this is. I think Wilder gets another knockout. We know that if he lands his right hand on anyone, it's potentially a knockout blow. You know, he possesses so much power in his right hand. I mean, I think he's going to probably beat this guy and beat him pretty early. Do you agree with that, Ayaz?
Yeah, I reckon. With that right hand, Wilder can stop anyone.
Yeah, I agree.
One fight I'd like to see right here.
Go on.
If Tyson, the winner between Fury and Klitschko, beats Wilder, the winner of Wilder.
Yeah, that'll unify the belts, of course. That's a fight that'll be it'd be a great fight. It'd be a great fight. I'd like to see him in there with someone. Obviously, he's fought a lot of fighters. This is his 35th fight. He's fought a lot of fighters, and obviously, he's fought a lot of fighters, but he hasn't fought so much top level fighters. Obviously, he fought Stavern. A lot of people think that Stavern was the only genuine top contender that he fought. Obviously, he couldn't get Stavern out of there. He's the only man to go to the scorecards with Deontay Wilder. I mean, it's probably going to be another knockover job, if we're honest. But it'd be cracking to see Wilder fight someone his own size who is at the top level. I mean, obviously he was a bit taller than Stavern, and his jab really won him the fight, to be honest. It's crazy to say that about Wilder. He actually won a fight with a jab. But when he fought Stavern, obviously he had the reach advantage and he just kept him at bay. And then every time Stavern was coming in head first, he was just cracking him with a right hand. But it'd be good if he gets in there with someone like Klitschko, who's his height, and can box. He's a top 10. Obviously, he's number 1. He's the man right now, undefeated. For 11 years now. But again, against someone like Tyson Fury, 6'9", who he'd be giving away his reach advantage too. So it'd be interesting if there was a unification bout sometime next summer, possibly. But yeah, on the undercard of that, we have Charles Martin, knockout artist from Carson, California. He steps in against a guy called Vicente Sandez. Charles Martin, with his record of 21 wins, 19 by knockout, and the 1 draw. He seems to knock out most of his guys pretty early, and this is probably going to be another knockout, to be honest. Sandez, again, this is a guy who I don't know much about. It's another guy who's just there to be. He's just thrown in there with the Wolves, and this is someone who I think Charles Martin will probably make easy work of. This guy, in his last 2 fights, he's lost one of them again to Edmund Gerber, who was stopped by Derek Chisora, I believe, 2014, 2013, something like that. So yeah, I think Charles Martin beats this guy pretty easy. Charles Martin, again, very good talker. If you do get a chance, you could YouTube some of the stuff, some of his stuff. He talks a lot, very big mouth, called out a lot of fighters. I think he said that Tyson, if he fought Tyson Fury, it wouldn't even go 30 seconds. But yeah, I'd like to see him stepped up because he's a southpaw. He's very, hits very, very, very hard. Again, quite well ranked now. He's climbing up the rankings. But it'd be good to see him step in there with someone of note so we can see what he's all about. His last fight, he fought Tom Dallas and knocked Tom Dallas out in the first round. He also fought, the fight before that, he fought Rafael Zumbano Love, who Joshua stopped very early recently, and he stopped him, but he took him to the 10th round. But it'd be good to see Charles Martin step his opponents up, have a step up fight, of course. Also down in America, sorry, I forgot to ask, do you want to add anything to that, Ayaz?
No, I just want to see the fight with Charles Martin. Obviously, to be honest, I haven't seen much of this guy. And the most recognizable name I can think on this fighting record was Rafael Zumbano. So obviously, we've known that Anthony Joshua stopped him already. Yeah.
Also, in the Tachi Palace Hotel and Casino in Lemoore, California, USA, Andy Ruiz Jr. tops the bill against Devin Vargas. Andy Ruiz Jr., he's actually one of my favourite heavyweights at the moment. He comes into every fight not in the best shape. 24-0 his record now, 17 by knockout. He's pretty short heavyweight, but he can punch. He's 6'2". He fights Devin Vargas, 6'1.5". Again, a really short heavyweight in today's times. But I think he probably wins this fight. Again, the guy he's fighting he's lost all 3 of his last fights. Devin Vargas lost all 3 of his last fights. He lost to Andrzej Warzik in Poland. He lost in the 9th round TKO. After that, he fought Jason Bergman. This was in March 2014. He lost in the 3rd round by TKO, and then again in the 3rd round TKO he lost to Dominic Brazil. That was in June 2014. So he's been out the ring for by the time the fight comes round, he would have been out of the ring for 15 months. So I don't think that's too interesting. Andy Ruiz probably on the way to another stoppage. And again, another fighter, another heavyweight from America who I think it'll be very good to see when they step up. There's so many guys from America, so many heavyweights. We don't know what's next from them. We've got Andy Ruiz Jr., Deontay Wilder, Malik Scott, Eddie Chambers, who's just had a fight the other day, and we're going to have him on the show very, very soon. So many guys. Seth Mitchell. What has happened to Seth Mitchell?
Seth Mitchell, no one's. Well, to be honest, we haven't seen him box for a long time, have we?
I think his last fight was the win over Jonathan Banks, if I'm not mistaken. His last fight was a win over Jonathan Banks over a year ago now. So America have got a lot of the top guys. Again, Ariola, what's he got left? There's so much going on in America at the moment for the boxing, but for the heavyweights, of course. But yeah, anything to add on the heavyweights of America, Ayaz?
I just want, to be honest, like the main fight that everyone's been talking about is the upcoming next month fight between Tyson Fury and Vladimir Klitschko. That's what everyone's talking about. Deontay Wilder's fight, like, not many people that are interested in it because they want him to step up.
Of course.
When they see that big step up, like when Wilder takes on the likes of Shannon Briggs,
yeah,
the likes of Tyson Fury, Vladimir Klitschko, even Anthony Joshua, then a lot of people will be talking about like his fights.
Yeah, of course. Again, there wasn't much boxing last week, but we do have to read out the results for anyone that may have missed it. Okay, so we're going to talk about the big card in Olympia, Liverpool. Stephen Smith, who topped the bill, fought Devis Bochero. He stopped him with a body shot in the 6th round, and Stephen Smith, in his next fight, I believe, will be fighting for a world title. Stephen Smith, someone who we hope to get on the show very soon. Bradley Saunders fought Reynold Garrido. Reynold Garrido was a huge underdog. Saunders was losing. I think he said after the fight that he had broken his left and right hand in the first round. And basically, the fight was stopped in the 6th. Reynold Garrido was outboxing Saunders. Saunders just didn't look very good. I don't know. I mean, I think it was quite apparent that something was wrong with his hands because he didn't seem to be throwing punches properly. Reynold Garrido, again, he was cruising to a victory, and Bradley Saunders intentionally headbutted him, and the fight was called off straight away. He was disqualified. Again, it was pretty good to see. I mean, a lot of English refs, they get a lot of stick. Their officiating, it's always open to criticism, but it was pretty good to see the fight stopped. Usually, sometimes, I'm not going to say usually, but sometimes you could see a point taken away for this, but it was so deliberate that the referee done a great job. And, I think I agree that it should have been a disqualification straight away, which he did do. So it's pleasing to see some good refereeing. Hosea Burton, again, a prospect for Eddie Hearn. He was on the bill. He fought a guy called Elvis Dubé. The 6 wins and 40 losses. Hosea Burton won on points in 6 rounds. Gary Buckland, we saw him back, but he lost to late replacement Sean Dodd. Gary Buckland, obviously we saw him have a great fight last year with Gavin. Was it Gavin Reese he fought last year?
I think it was Gavin Reese.
Yeah, Gavin Reese. Obviously, he beat Gavin Reese. But, it's a shame, really, because, again, good boxer. He had the 2 fights with Gavin Reese. Sorry, he won the first one, lost the second one. But I think his career's coming to an end. He's only got 2 wins. Well, I'm going to read out his last 8 fights. He's only got 3 wins. So 5 losses in his last 8 fights. Gary Buckland, don't know how much he has left to offer, but still a good name. Sean Dodd, very well. He done very well. Beat him on points after 10 rounds. Marcus Morrison, 6-0 prospect against Michael Mora, not the Michael Mora, of course. Mora's corner threw in the towel in the first round, and it was a stoppage TKO in the first round. Tom Farrell fought Fonz Alexander. Tom Farrell getting the win on points over 4 rounds. And Zelfa Barrett, 5-0, fought Christian Late. Christian Late with a really outstanding record. I'm gonna give it to you guys. 10 wins, 205 losses, and 7 draws. That's got to be one of the best records I've ever seen. And Christian Late managed to get his 206th loss against Zelfa Barrett 5-0. Again, this was on points in 4 rounds. So, okay, so we've previewed the big cards of next week, and we have reviewed the big cards of last week. Ayaz, anything else? Are you excited that possibly we could be having a special guest on the show very soon in Vladimir Klitschko's trainer, Jonathan Banks?
I can't wait for that. I just want to see like how Klitschko's training ahead of his fight. So you're having Jonathan Banks on the show, not just as a trainer, but also his experience as a fighter.
Yeah, again, I'm going to ask him what he's got going on in his career, because, you know, obviously, we've seen him in a few fights. Again, he stopped Seth Mitchell, and then they had a rematch, and Seth Mitchell beat him. And I haven't really heard much from Jonathan Banks since then. But yeah, hopefully we get him on the show soon, and it'd be good speaking to him. Is anything you have to add?
No, there's nothing much to add for that. Just obviously, like, this is BoxHard. We're gonna be previewing, reviewing, and having many guests on this show.
Of course, that's how we do it. And if you are still with us and you listened through the whole of today's show, then you should definitely tune in next week, because it's going to get better and better. More guests are going to be coming on every single week. I've been Joey Coastman. Ayaz has been Ayaz Sumra. And we're done for the first episode. Thank you very much for listening.